Hey guys, it's Kernel Coffee here and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video, and in this one we're going to be talking about a few tips, tricks and strategies that you can use within the Leviathan raid boss fight. So this is just a few things that I've picked up along the way on all the groups that I've joined and defeated this guy. So I have a main group that I do this with every week, and I also join other groups just to help them out because I like learning new strategies and I like learning new things that other people have tried, and then I try and come up with the best way for my group to get through it. So this is just going to be a combination of everything that I've picked up and everything that I have learned about the Calus boss fight. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is the inside area, the Mind's Eye or the Shadow Realm. So the first tip that I have for you guys is specifically aimed at the people who are staying behind in this area, in the Shadow Realm or the Mind's Eye, whatever you want to call it. So this is basically a tip to stop you from being blown over the top of the barrier. So the first tip that I have for this part is that you want to press up against the purple barrier as tight as you can. If there's a small gap between you and the barrier when he starts to pull you forward, then there sometimes is enough force for him to just pull you over the barrier regardless of where you're standing. So when you enter this area, if you're staying behind, just make sure you push right up against the barrier and crouch for a bit of extra security, and you'll never be bounced over the top of it. Now as for the Scions, if a Scion fires a grenade at you, normally it will bounce you up and over the barrier. You can actually avoid these grenades just by moving left or right. You just have to readjust yourself after it's done. Now I don't have any gameplay of this unfortunately because I'm always inside the throne room, so just let me explain as best as I can. So for the three people who are staying behind in the Shadow Realm, the first job they're going to have is to call out the symbols on the big guy's forehead. Now this is one of the parts that causes people the most trouble. Now the first thing that I'm going to say is what most people will tell you is the call out names. You have to make sure that people are on par with the call out names. So what I mean by this is try and use one syllable words. So instead of saying chalice, say cup. Instead of saying swords or blades, say axe or something like that. If you stick to this principle, then you will get the callouts really quick and clear. But the issue I have with this is that you will also be playing with people around the world from time to time, and there is a language barrier. So the tip that I have for callouts is, first of all, get together for 5 minutes before you start the fight, learn what each person is going to be calling each symbol, that way you know exactly what you're listening for. And the second thing is to create a call out order. This is extremely important and extremely helpful. So when you're in the Shadow Realm, typically you've got a guy on the left, a guy in the middle and a guy on the right. If you stick with that order for your callouts, then nobody will ever talk over each other. So have the guy on the left call out his symbol first, the guy on the middle call his symbol out second, and the guy on the right call his symbol out third. If you follow this and do it with people that are speaking loud and clearly, then you will never have anyone talking over each other, and the people on the inside in the throne room will have an easy job punching the correct Scion. Now the other thing I want to say about the Shadow Realm is that when you're in there, you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna have a guy on the left, a guy in the middle, and a guy on the right, and there's going to be 3 red Scions that appear in the same shape on the other side of the barrier. Now on the third rotation, it's going to be really difficult for the guy on the left to see the left Scion. So what I want to say is, if you have the guy on the left always shoot the right Scions, the guy on the right always shoot the left Scions, then you will never have a problem. So I have a few things to talk about regarding what weapons to use and what classes to be, just to make the boss fight a little bit easier, but I'm going to go into that towards the end of the video. To start with, I'm going to talk about the tips and tricks involving the throne room. So the first one involves everybody. Before you get teleported to the other dimension, he's going to put the 4 Scions on the 4 platforms. Now most people are going to try and kill those Scions just to get some ammo. I'm going to tell you not to do that. If you kill those 4 Scions, then the Centurions will start spawning early, which will make the people who are staying in the throne room's lives a lot harder. So just to reiterate, before you get teleported each time, make sure nobody kills the starting Scions. Now the second thing is for callouts. When the people in the other dimension are reading out their callouts, their symbol callouts, the people on the inside have to listen for 3 symbols. On the symbol that's not called out, they have to punch. Now there's a little tip here that a lot of people don't know about, is if something goes wrong and you can only hear 2 symbol callouts, then you can still get it done. Basically, if you only hear sun and cup, then all you have to do is have the people on the inside punch dog and axe, and it will still work because you have punched the right one. It's just about the process of elimination. Now the third thing I want to talk about is revives. Basically, if anyone dies, then you want to have the people in the other dimension use their revive tokens first, because if anyone dies from the other dimension, they're going to get teleported back to the throne room. So you want to make sure the people in the throne room are the ones that keep their revive tokens for the longest. Now let's move on to the DPS part. When you've done 4 phases of punching Scions, the people in the throne room have to take down Calus's shield. Now while they're taking down his shield, the people in the other dimension are shooting these skulls. The more skulls they shoot, the more DPS we can do, which means the people in the throne room have to be really slowly taking down his shield. So what we do is make sure that we've all got our supers after the 4th phase, because we have to kill all the enemies fast, and then regroup towards the bottom of the room. We have to make sure we've all got a full shield ourselves, and then we take his shield down until it gets to the P in Emperor, and then we wait, count to 10 before we finish him off. Now 10 is just a safeguard because you can wait longer, but if you wait too long then he will insta-wipe your whole team. If you shoot him and take his shield down too quick, then the people in the other dimension don't have enough time to shoot more skulls. So 10 seconds is just a safeguard. Like I said, take it down to the P in Emperor, stop shooting him, count to 10, finish him off, and you should guarantee about 80 skulls every single time. Now also for DPS, we start on the dog platform, which is back right, just because when your teammates get spawned back in from the other dimension, they spawn closest to that platform. So you want to make sure that all 6 of you jump on the platform at the same time, because if anyone goes on early, your teammates are going to have less time to do DPS. So on each platform, just make sure you're all sticking together and jumping on it at the same time to maximize your DPS. Now speaking of DPS, if you cannot one phase kill the boss, make sure you do not go into the last segment of his health, because he has a move that basically leaves these lava spots on the ground, and it covers a huge area, and if you step into it, it's almost an insta-kill. It does crazy damage to you. So to avoid that, if you cannot one phase kill him, don't go into his last segment of health until the next phase, and then you should be able to kill him without him having to do that move at all. Now let's move on to weapons. The weapons that I use personally are a scout rifle, the cold heart, and the Trials of the Nine high impact sniper. Any high impact sniper will do crazy damage. If you have a cold heart, I definitely recommend using it because that does insane damage as well. It has a lot of ammo, and you pick up special ammo all the time, or energy ammo. So I would highly recommend either a high impact sniper or a rocket. Rockets, if you have a Titan with a shield, that way you never have to reload because it usually takes a while. If you don't have a cold heart, just any energy will do. As long as you cover a sniper or a rocket, you will do mad damage. Now for classes, if you're in the other dimension, make sure you, if you can, have a Titan and a Warlock. You need a Titan with a Rally Barricade, and you want to have the Warlock as a Shadow or a Stormcaller, with an Empowering Rift. The reason for this is for when you're shooting skulls, you're basically going to have 3 people who never have to reload, who have increased damage and have an Arc Soul, which is basically a turret, all shooting the skulls. So it's really going to help shooting the skulls. You're going to get a lot more than you normally do, and you should guarantee about 80 every single time. Now, if you can, also have a Warlock in the throne room with a Healing Rift. That way, when you're taking down his shield, you can delay it as long as possible without anyone dying. Now, other than that, guys, I've tried to fit as many tips into this video as I could. I've tried to cover all the basics that I have found myself. There's probably a lot more out there, so if you know any, make sure you leave a comment down below and let me know. Also let me know if you want me to do the same type of video with each trial, because there are loads of tips. But other than that, guys, I will catch you in the next one.